patients are not fools. They know we are overwhelmed by this horrifying epidemic.
Come on, I don't have all night. I not want to make wait, Doctor. I have patients to attend.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here. not one to make wait, Doctor. I've patient... Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
The patients are not fools. They know we are open.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I thought last time was epidemic.
epidemic. There's good reason to be proud.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Goodbye, Milton.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadigan fellow. Safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on...
Nurse Brannigan, you don't have to... Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good.
How is the...
Well, not well.
Goodbye, Nurse.
The pain. It's here again.
Good evening, miss.
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal?
You keep calling me...
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover to hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must...
It's only a cover.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for the...
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
The pain.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. but they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such...
You never...
You're preaching to...
Do you know Tom Watts?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand. Good...
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The...
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then?
Not really.
How did you end up in William...
I had received a letter...
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero.
I'm just a man.
Why did he abduct...
William wasn't...
What is the general situation?
The situation...
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname...
Who leads...
Since Clay
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
On every street corner.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes.
Does my arrival...
Let us just...
It seems you have bad memories of your...
I refuse...
We can at least... I don't know...
I don't...
And what...
I served...
Be careful...
I only...
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is...
I don't... And what... Be careful...
I only want...
This is
You
ridiculous.
see?
Since you're... Kelly, I don't...
Modern...
If you have a problem...
Doctor...
I know... There isn't...
That...
Thank you for your time. We'll...
I'm quite busy.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well, it will not be the...
Thank you for your time.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed.
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick.
Are you satisfied?
Well,
I won't...
Are you sure?
In other Tell me about...
Strict what?
Are you satisfied?
Well, are you sure you don't...
In other circumstances... Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his...
I was more...
I'm a...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. Better than me. Blundering. my sweet girl. Treats me like a boy.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who...
I'm Dr.
I'm Beatrice.
What can you...
Not much.
Are you really that rich?
Yes.
May I ask if...
I'm a teacher.
What do you think of your reception here?
I have had some of the...
Tell me more about...
The ambulance...
What do you... She charged you for a...
Yes.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick.
I don't expect...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm...
No.
Really?
I don't want to.
I suppose...
Yes.
Could you at least...
More to...
Tell me about...
I don't...
How...
So...
I'll let you get...
I'm all right.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm a...
How painful is your throat?
So painful.
I'm sure...
Not really.
I see.
Yes, mate.
How painful...
So painful.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skill.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed, I am thrust.
Please, could you tell me something about...
I'm a great...
What made you...
I'm not a...
It's...
This epic...
I based...
I'd rather...
As long as...
You're not the first one.
What do you think?
It's a shame.
With the...
I believe that...
So you believe...
Doctor...
What can you tell me?
Well, it is always...
You seem quite optimistic. Question true. Do you need help? Where do you...
Oh, no.
I see. Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with...
Harvey Fiddick.
What is it, you...
Fair question.
Tell me, Miss...
Oh, but because...
This...
Do all...
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you...
Strickland.
Are you think...
Harvey...
And are you not afraid that your...
Rivalry.
Why do you wish to lead the... I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Ackroyd.
I'm not the kind...
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.